innovative research methodologies for emerging academics, which will be held till 17th of December. For this session, we have Professor Rajendra Sharma sir, who is the head of the Department of Political Science in Maharshi Dayanand University, Rohtak, Haryana. The topic of this session to be discussed is theory and empirical research in social sciences. Now, I would like to invite the President of the Indian Scholars Association, Mr. Vikash Kumar sir, for welcome address. Over to you, Vikas sir.
Thank you so much, Suvangi madam. I will not take more time because today is my teacher and my mentor जिनके बारे में BA और MA से सुन रहा हूँ. So sir will deliver his lecture on the very relevant topic, not only for the social sciences research scholars, but those research scholars who want to do good research. I would like to welcome to Professor Rajendra Sharma sir, and I would like to also thanks to Professor Jagrup Kaur Singh madam, who has given the contact number of Professor Rajendra Singh sir. So sir, on behalf of me and on behalf of the IRSA, I would like to welcome sir. So sir, now you can start your lecture. Over to you sir. Thank you so much.
Uh, Thank you, Vikas ji. Thank you, Shubhangi ji, for giving me this opportunity. And I thank and congratulate Dr. Vikas for taking this initiative. And it's a good initiative that as a research scholar he has taken, because many a times even bigger departments are not able to take such initiatives. They find difficulty in organizing conferences and seminars. And I'll be here for nearly 1 hour, because I'm also busy with PhD admissions in my university, and it's a working day for me also today. So I'll be here for nearly an hour's time. I'll be speaking for 35-40 minutes, and for next 20 minutes we can have a discussion. So now when we talk about theory and empirical research, and for a long time, if you look at the social sciences, their model for research was the natural sciences. And it was thought that till you follow the natural science methodology and their methods, then your subject or your discipline cannot be called scientific. And and uh, and accepting this view, many of the subjects blindly followed this path, and started collecting data, and emphasizing on facts. And as we political scientists know, that there was a reaction also, not only in political science, in other social sciences also, there was a reaction against this excessive empiricism, that is a collection of data without linking them with society, or even formation of theories without their validation. So these kind of things took place for quite a long time. But after the questioning of such methods in social sciences in the 60s, there was a reaction. In Stanford University there was a reaction. People questioned what kind of courses we are teaching, why we are teaching those courses, what is their relevance. There was a revolt, revolt against certain intellectual traditions, because the students and others. There was a revolt in France also, where the students questioned the syllabus, the different courses, and questioned their relevance. What is the use of such courses for the society? So these things happen. But now, these debates are over now. There is no confusion that political science is a science, sociology is a science, economics is a science, geography is a science, history is a science. But we don't have to follow the model of the natural sciences, because the term social itself makes us distinct from the natural sciences. We have our own ways of doing research, and we have our own ways of reaching the reality. So this is something that we should every researcher must think about the concept of social research. What is social? and what is scientific. So in order to be research must be scientific, and many a times we think that theory is the theory. If we make theories, then it is automatically scientific. No, theory is not science. Theories can be philosophical. Theory becomes scientific only when substantiated by facts. Theory has importance only when when researchers substantiate what has been said in that theory, and it is validated by facts and empirical research. So theory without scientific validity remains simply an idea. There have been different theories at different times, but only those theories have survived the test of time that have been used by researchers over the period of time. So so there has to be a mix of both theory and empirical research in order to make our research scientific. That is one point. So science demands empirical validation and reliability. Science demands verification. Your data, your facts, that has to be reliable. So many times what happens is that either we excessively emphasize the empirical aspects of a research, and many a times we emphasize the theoretical aspects of a research to the exclusion of the other. So facts. If we keep on collecting facts without linking them with certain theories, then those facts are barren. They are barren until we have some causal explanation regarding those facts. Why? Until we answer the question why a certain thing is happening, a certain thing is happening regarding the facts that we have collected. If they are mere facts, then they do not have much importance, much importance per se, until they are linked with certain theories. Same is the case with theory. Until theory is validated by facts, by empirical research, then it merely becomes an idea, merely remains an idea, a philosophical idea, an imagination. This is one thing that we always must keep in mind. And since most of the listeners are now already doing their research and must have gone through many of these things. So, and many a times we notice that there are scholars who have absolutely focused on theory making or theory building, and not on empirical research. Then there are scholars who say, look, if you have to understand reality, then you must go to the field, must collect data. Without going to the field and without collecting data, you can't do your research. So both kind of scholars have been there. For instance, Rajni Kothari's Politics in India. So that's entirely a theoretical work. There has no empirical data. Data to support what has been said. Like, but then such theories also, they do not come out of the blue. Such even such theories, they are conceived through certain experiences, what you observe. For instance, Rajni Kothari's more or less book Politics in India is the starting point for any research on Indian politics for nearly last 50 years, 55 years. Without referring to that work, we don't move ahead. So Rajni Kothari's concept of dominant, let's say, one party dominant system. Now this is a theoretical concept, a concept, which he has observed that, by observing, not by collecting data, simply based on his observation that yes, there is a system of political parties in India in which one party is the dominant factor. There are India is a multi-party system. There are other parties, but one party's dominance could be seen. Now this is something that is not something that he did any empirical research, but definitely this theory of dominant one party dominant system has come out of his observation of the Indian party system, and elsewhere also, where such dominance by one party could be observed in the political system of those countries. Now, now this concept of one party dominant system and Rajni Kothari's theory becomes important because further changes in the Indian party system has always been linked with his concept of dominant party system. Whether today one party dominant system exists or not, whether it has gone away, whether now in Modi era, whether there will be once again a dominant party system like the Nehruvian period. So this concept becomes so important for studying Indian political party system. So this is how theory. Other people have done research. We are doing research. What is the nature of Indian party system by referring to the one party dominant concept of Rajni Kothari. Now we are doing research. That is why Rajni Kothari's theory of one party dominant system remains important and relevant. Had it been simply simply remained a mere imagination, then nobody this theory would have been dead long time back. People would not have referred to that theory, because this theory found its grounding in further empirical researches about Indian party system. This is something that we have to keep in mind. And it's not only Rajni Kothari. There are others also. There are other scholars also who have made theoretical contributions. For instance, my PhD thesis was on the study of power elite in a district in Rajasthan. Now, I borrowed this concept of power elite from the elite theorists. Elite theorists like Pareto, Mosca, Michels, then C. Wright Mills. And if you look at Pareto's book Mind and Society, so those were not empirical studies. He did not collect data. How many people were there at the top, how many population was at the bottom. It was simply something Pareto must have observed in the political setup of his time, and maybe must have taken examples from history also, that how a small class, a small group of people who are at the top of any society, and they are the ones who rule the society, and then the large number of people whom he called as masses, and on the other side are the masses. Now this concept of elites, has been adopted by numerous scholars, for studying. I have used this concept to study, who are the people who are at the top of the power setup in a particular district, or even at the national level. People have studied, who are the elites, who are the people who rule India, using this concept of Pareto, Mosca, Michels, and C. Wright Mills. Now, that is why C. Wright Mills, this theory of elites is important, because we are using it for our empirical research. And through empirical research, then again modifications take place. A recent book on elite theory was Sanjay Baru's book, the gentleman who wrote the accidental prime minister. Again, he has written a book on elites, and how the elite in Delhi, how this Modi government is in a way bringing about changes, changes in the power elite structure of Delhi. Uh, who are the people, who are the movers and shakers of Delhi. Now, there's one set of people during this whole era of Congress system, and now there is a change. There are new persons are co-opted in this elite system, and slowly replacing the old ones. So then this is the study of Sanjay Baru. Now, what I mean to say is that the concept, that the theorization, one scholar did this theorization Mind and Society, later on See Right Mills. Without going into the field, that how many people are there, who occupy positions, how many numbers are there, what percentage of population are at the top. Nothing of that sort. Simply writing their theory. And because it's not that theories also come out simply out of imagination. Theories come out of observation. People observe society, and it need not to be it need not to be a number game. I observe society many a times. I observe society. Then what I observe, I put it in words. I put it in sentences, and then I put it in concepts and theory. What we observe, what we observe, then we put that into into a certain kind of a theory, and then other people use it. So it's not that theory is absolutely devoid of any empirical grounding. Yeah, in the classical sense that there is no data, but definitely there is observation. How we perceive, how we are able to see, how we are able to see society. That becomes very important, for any kind of social science research. It need not be data at all. Many times we see changes taking place, and we write about them, and we talk about them without even going through data. For instance, when I observe my class, in MA, and I can definitely, through observation, even without collecting data for a long period, I have just observed them, and I can say that in social sciences, a particular group or class of people come, because less resources have been spent on those students who join the social sciences. Their parents are, most of them are from, rural background. Most of them are, many of them are first generation learners, from in their families, especially the girls and the scheduled caste. They are the first generations who are doing their MA. It's simply I have observed, over a period of time, even without collecting data. I can see who are the people who join, let's say, the management class, the management course in our university. I have seen them through their clothes, through their behavior, through the vehicle they travel in, that yes, they belong to a slightly different class than the students that I am teaching. I don't have to collect any data, on simply this observation. Yes, but yes, this fact that in order to move ahead, then these observations have to be validated by facts and empirical studies, in case somebody wishes to do that. So these are some of the things. For instance, in political science, Morgenthau, Politics Among Nations. Now Politics Among Nations, is a very, very, very important book, but then it is not based on any fact. It is not based on any empirical research. I mean, simply, like other classical theorists, Morgenthau also starts with human nature, and then this human nature is reflected in the behavior of nations. The way human beings are selfish, self-interested. Nations are also in the same way. They also behave in the same way. All nations want their self-interest to be fulfilled, and then in order to fulfill those interests, you need to acquire power. You need to have some strength, in order to acquire them. And so these are the things. Now Morgenthau, made this theory of realism in his book Politics Among Nations. Now other scholars are either refuting that theory through their research, or affirming, affirming the theory through their research. This is what social science means. Social sciences, there are no one single reality. There's no one single reality. There are, layers and layers, layers and layers. Many times empirical data does not reveal much, because it is on the upper side. We have to go beneath, the things that we are not able to see. What is hidden, that needs to be uncovered. Many times, why election studies go wrong, Why election studies go wrong, despite many of these organizations having the best of resources, many of these TV channels having the best of the resources and the money, and they have all the statistical tools, all the means and methods of collecting their samples, their methodology, they have everything, everything that they ask for. Unlike some other scholar may not have the same resources, but they have all the resources and they still go wrong because uh, you know uh, 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 let's say gathering data is one thing. Lekin one has to, in order to understand reality, one has to go beyond this data. What is happening, what is happening under in under the ground, what is happening over there. And that is something where sometimes we, even scholars, miss the boat. We miss the boat. Then obviously this is part of social science. If we were exactly predicting everything and everything coming, everything, our forecast coming in the manner in which we have forecasted, then social science would not be science. The social science would not be social science. Because social science, there are certain unpredictabilities, which are there with the social sciences. Election data is one example, which is the a very good example of empirical research. There could not be any better example of empirical research, where you collect data, ask people whom are you going to vote for, whom your parents had voted for, what is your caste, what is your occupation, and what is your age, what is your gender. Everything is there, and still we go wrong because we are not able to decipher things that are not visible, that are not visible. And this happens in social science research. This happens many a times. For instance, one example, like the Lok Sabha elections this time, some of us were dot on the predictions. Everybody was saying 400 plus, many of the TV channels. But many of us people like me, who were doing their own research with less resources, whatever our sources were, we would write dot, that the BJP will fall short of the majority. But in Haryana we were proved wrong. Haryana, we were proved wrong. All of us were so sure that yes, this time it will be a Congress majority, a thumping majority. But we failed. We failed because we were not able to understand the things that were taking place below the ground in the last couple of days. What was taking place in the last couple of days, and that made an impact on the electorate, and all predictions went haywire. At least about Haryana, everybody was sure of. The YouTubers, the intellectuals, the media person, everybody was more or less agreed that yes, Haryana will go the Congress way, but everybody proved to be wrong. So this is something which happens in social sciences. So this is something that we have to consider, that yes, social science is different from the natural sciences. And there has to be certain, let's say, sometimes we may go wrong in our predictions. But then anyway, we need to be, in order to do our research, we need to be as scientific as we can be. But then, apart from collecting data, or for example, I'll give you another example, that many of my students have been doing research on the empowerment of women, or empowerment of Dalits, after the 73rd and 74th Amendment. And they have all been doing research on this topic. गुरुजी, इस पे हम लोग कर लेते हैं, पंचायती राज में महिलाओं की भागीदारी पे कर लें, या महिलाओं के सशक्तिकरण पे कर लें, या दलितों के सशक्तिकरण पे कर लें. Or and ultimately all of them have more or less have come out with the same result, that because of patriarchy, because of the patriarchal society, women, despite being elected, are not able to play a very important role, or they are not able to bring about the desired changes despite getting reservation. they're not they're not able to make their impact, on the Panchayati Raj system, and especially in the decision making of the Panchayati Raj system, because it is again the males of the family who are who are the dominant factor, and who take the decisions, instead of the elected women members. Now, this is something which has been found in more or less in all studies, on in all studies. But there are certain people, I myself, didn't publish any study, but once or twice I did try finding out, what are the changes that have taken place in the Panchayati Raj system after the bringing out of these amendments in the constitution, after giving them constitutional status. Now, what I found out to be very different. For instance, the Dalits. The Dalits, they say, I asked them, do you have the power? Have you seen some changes? And his reply was yes. कहा कि हाँ, क्यों नहीं बदलाव है? कहा इनको मेरे घर आना पड़ता है, पहले मेरे कोई घर नहीं आता था, मेरी 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 कदर करनी पड़ती है, स्टैम्प लगाने के लिए, फला के लिए। हो सकता है कि बड़े निर्णय तो यही ले लेते हैं कि कहाँ पर क्या करना है, लेकिन हाँ, अब इस लेवल पर इनको नीचे उतरना पड़ा है, जहाँ पर ये लोग उतरने के लिए तैयार नहीं थे। तो ये जो इस तरह का जो बदलाव है, जो मनोवैज्ञानिक बदलाव है, या समाज में दूसरा जो बदलाव है, तो वो अगर कोई नहीं पकड़ पा रहा है, सब के सब कहते हैं कि नहीं, पैतृक समाज है, इसमें महिलाओं का या दलितों का कुछ भी नहीं हो रहा। इसी तरह से महिलाओं का आप देखिए कि ठीक है, उसका पति चला जाएगा कई सारी मीटिंग्स में, लेकिन जो एक दूसरी बात जो समझने की रिसर्चर्स को, कि महिला का चित्र लगाना पड़ता है आपको, मंजू और मंजू सरपंच प्रत्याशी, और नीचे पति का नाम होगा, पति का फोटो भी होगा, पति उमेश, और महिलाओं का फोटो लगाना ही एक बहुत बड़ी बात है। या आप गांव में या शहर में नगर पालिका के लिए अपनी बीवी का फोटो लगा रहे हैं, जहां पहले कोई देख ले तो उसी में मारकाट मच जाती है। तो है, और दूसरी बात है कि उस महिला को जाना पड़ता है, लोगों के पास जाना पड़ता है, उसको ले जाता है, चाहे वही ले जाता हो, आगे पीछे घूमते हुए ले जाता हो, लेकिन शी हैज टू गो आउट, शी हैज टू टॉक टू पीपल कि भाई मुझे वोट दो, कर दो। दिस इटसेल्फ इज अ बिग चेंज। If somebody consider these as changes, where you have to bring out your women folk out of your homes, or you have to visit a Dalit's house, which was something unusual. Now you have to visit him. आपको चाहे उसका अंगूठा ही चाहिए, चाहे सिग्नेचर ही चाहिए, लेकिन आपको उसके घर जाना पड़ेगा। तो ये सारी चीजें बदलाव है। इसीलिए सोशल साइंसेस में हम लोग कहते हैं कि सिर्फ आपको जो धरातल के ऊपर दिख रहा है वही नहीं है, धरातल के नीचे भी आपको समझने के लिए जाना पड़ेगा। और इसीलिए बहुत लोग चुनाव के बारे में भी, बहुत लोग देख पाते हैं कई बार नीचे, बहुत ज्यादा उनके पास डेटा नहीं है, बहुत फैक्ट्स नहीं है, बहुत संसाधन नहीं है, और लेकिन वो सही साबित होते हैं। क्यों? क्योंकि वो देख पा रहे हैं, वो उस चीज को देख पा रहे हैं जिसको देखने की आवश्यकता है सबको, लेकिन सब लोग नहीं देख पाते हैं, हम लोग भी नहीं देख पाते हैं, बहुत बार गलत हो जाते हैं। तो इसीलिए बार बार मैं यही कहूंगा कि हम लोग वी कैन नॉट एक्सक्लूड theory and facts, theory and empirical research from one another, and and simply collecting data also will not make our research a perfect research. It will not give it the rigor that is required for any social science research. For instance, I'll give you how theory and empirical research are connected, and both of them are important. I would say that this debate that qualitative research, quantitative research, theory or versus empiricism, no, these are like gone things. These are outdated. Because even qualitative research, for instance, I wish to study, let's say my university, just my university, for instance, what is the background of the teachers, what is the social background of the students, and other things about the university. But then this would be a qualitative, in a way, qualitative research that, about university. But then when we say my university, that means one university. Then one again is a number, So so number, if you're studying one, just a single panchayat, but then one would come in. Numbers are definitely there. आप एक का अध्ययन कर रहे हैं तो आपको एक तो कहना ही पड़ेगा कि हम एक इकाई का अध्ययन कर रहे हैं, एक गांव का अध्ययन कर रहे हैं, एक विश्वविद्यालय का अध्ययन कर रहे हैं, तो numbers will always be there. So what I mean to say is that this distinction between quantitative and qualitative research is has been blurred. Now no more. Both merge uh, with each other as per requirements. As per our excuse me. Now, another political scientist, for instance, David Easton, his concept of political system, and or for instance, systems theory in general, systems theory in general, and we have used this systems theory to empirically study our political systems. Uh, this theory was given first in anthropology, then in sociology, then in other subjects. Now once we have this concept of system, what is a system, what are the different parts, what are the different functions. Now this intellectual exercise of making this theory, this concept of of a system, enables a social scientist to study and apply this theory at various levels. I can call the university a system. And as per the systems theories, study the university system by applying it. By identifying that the teachers are one part of this university system, then the students are there, the karamcharis are there, and how they are linked with each other. How something that was just an imagination, or let's say that was something not based on any empirical research, the systems theory is now being used continuously by different disciplines, and different disciplines empirically, and that is what makes the systems theory relevant even today also. So this is something we must in a way we keep in mind. We must keep in mind that yes, theory and empirical research, they go hand in hand. Had the systems theory not been empirically validated, not empirically tested at different levels, whether it is the hospital system, somebody wants to study the hospital, identify the nurses, the doctors, their hierarchy, their rules, their regulations, then this theory would have died long time back. It would have lost its relevance. It would not have been that important. The elite theory of Pareto would have lost its relevance had it not been used by different scholars at different times to study the power structure, of the power structure of a place, of the country, of a district, whatever it is. This is what makes that theory still relevant. So these are some of the things. Now further. So, social research, looks for social in a given situation. Social is hard reality. Hard reality. So it is not so social is not only theory or data. So we have to link all these three. We have to link uh, theory with method, and method with practice. These three things have to be linked. And most of the time, what happens is that when we decide our topic, when we decide our topic of research, that topic itself determines everything else. And that topic itself determines everything, that what would be a sample size, what would be a methodology, and how you would carry out the research. For instance, my study of elites in Rajasthan in Sikar district. Now, the topic itself, limits my study to a certain group of people, a small group of people. Now, my sample or my study of sample size would not be large. I need to identify those who are, the elites, those who are, let's say in different political power positions in the district, and then study them. So the topic itself, more or less, decides everything. What method you would be using, what would be your sample size, what theories you would be utilizing in your research. If I say, power elite in Rajasthan, obviously it has decided everything. I would be, studying the elite theories, in detail, and I would be reviewing the literature on elites in India, and then obviously the sample also would be a limited one, because the theory itself, elite theory itself, says that yes, there are small group of people. So आपका जो भी विषय, वो विषय ही सब कुछ तय कर देता है. आपको बहुत ज्यादा कई बार सोचने की जरूरत नहीं है कि आपका जो विषय है वही तय करेगा. फॉर इंस्टेंस, वन ऑफ माय स्टूडेंट्स हु सिटिंग next to me, who's helping me out in carrying out this lecture, Anil, he's doing research on Kha panchayats now Kha panchayats itself, limits his area to Haryana. It would not be Assam, it would not be, then the Kha panchayat itself limits his research to basically to the Jats. Then again, then there is a limitation, that there are 10, 15 or 20 khafs, or maybe 35 or 40 khafs. Then that research again, it has already, the boundaries of that research has already been decided, by his topic itself. The topic itself decides what are the boundaries of your research, what will be the region where you would be studying, and what are the people you would be talking to for your research. So one must be very clear when, when we decide about our topic, and that is only possible after we do a number of readings. This is something I should not be saying, because most of you are already doing your research, and some of the who have joined this course are teachers like me. I don't have to tell them, because they perhaps have to do this course for some promotion or something else, and they might be even, they're much better scholars, in many ways. But like, this is what this system does to us. Anyway. So, many times, blindly we should not be doing anything for, blindly not doing, and many times what scholars feel is that, in when we are doing research in social sciences, then we must, be clear about what social means. What is social. If we miss out on that, then our research sometimes will not bring out the true reality. For instance, somebody did a research on tribe, or on tribes in Uttarakhand, and when somebody talked to that scholar, how did you go about, collecting your data, and other things. He said, I collected my data through a structured interview. Now, how can one, collect data through a structured questionnaire from a group of people and community which is illiterate, which does not even understand. You can give a questionnaire to only to the people who understand this. Even if you are giving four choices, they must know what those choices are. Only a literate, where literacy is high, there only you can use a questionnaire, you can distribute a questionnaire, and accept expect the answers to be given. But in a tribal society, which is a different society altogether, how can you have a structured questionnaire, and then collect data? Because now this is one classic example where, the scholar has done a research on the tribals, but without understanding that. without understanding their social situation, that this kind of a questionnaire, this kind of data collection would not bring us closer to the reality that we are trying to understand. This is something we always had to, because they are not educated, they are different culture. How can they understand what we are doing? Ajay, in recent times, so one of the very important studies uh, is of you can say Abhijit Banerjee's study, of poor economics. That is one example I would like to give to the students, to the scholars who are attending. And most of the time, what happens is that subsidies are being given. People are given different kind of economic benefits, so that their social condition, economic condition could rise. To bring them out of poverty lines. So what Dufflo and they studied, Banerjee and Deflo in different countries. Okay, how uh, how people use these subsidies. In India also sometimes some of us have done it, but at a very small scale. They did it on a very large scale. That how these subsidies are being used, and those who use these subsidies properly were able to raise their position, their social and economic positions, whereas those some of them who squandered this subsidy, and not much change could be brought into their lives. And so this was, in a way of and how they made their choices also. Once you have given them a subsidy, how do they use it? Or what and they reach this conclusion that people make a rational decision. The people make, for instance, we give, let's say, subsidy for toilets, in India. Now somebody might, if he have the option, may not use that subsidy for making a toilet. He may use it for something else, which might be much more important for him. So this is something, which was, let's say, in our studies, which was lacking before, especially where such government policies are concerned. So this was something innovation in social sciences research, what they did. That is why many of us now are thinking in these terms, that when subsidies are being given by different governments, how do people, how do people react to that? How do people make a decision about using or not using those subsidies? So and actually, many a times, social science research may for instance economics, economics. Now, what does an economist do? What they do is that they use the already collected data, whether it is the census data, whether it is the national sample survey data, and they use this data, and then aggregate those data. Then go for aggregation. Then for then go for then use different tools. Now, these economists are using data without ever going into the field. They don't go into the field. They claim to be doing empirical research. आप प्लानिंग कमीशन का डेटा यूज कर रहे हैं, आप नेशनल सैंपल सर्वे का डेटा कर रहे हैं, आप सेंसस का डेटा कर रहे हैं, और रिपोर्ट्स का कर रहे हैं, विदाउट एवर, और इन डेटा को आपस में मिला रहे हैं, टूल्स, स्टैटिस्टिकल टूल्स यूज कर रहे हैं, लेकिन बिना समझे आप you are writing about poverty elevation, using government data, using that data, but without ever going into the field and understanding what poverty is. This is something also which is happening. This is something, especially in economics, where people are not going to the field and using already collected data. So this is something that in social sciences we have to be aware of, that in order to understand society, because that is the purpose of each and every social science research, that that we must not forget the social aspect. Now economist hai, and social aspect means that we are studying people. We are studying human beings like us. So many a times when you look at the economists and their use of data, there are no people in their research. There there are no people in their research. उसका खाली डेटा है, लोग तो है ही नहीं. हमारा हमारा सोशल साइंस का मतलब क्या है? लोगों का अध्ययन है. बहुत बार हम लोग जब जब इस तरह की बात करते हैं, जब हम लोग हम लोग जब इस तरह की बात करते हैं सोशल साइंस रिसर्च की, खाली डेटा डेटा, उसमें सोशल मिसिंग है, तो हम लोग वास्तविकता के नजदीक नहीं पहुंच पाएंगे. ये भी हमको अपने अपने रिसर्च में ध्यान रखना पड़ेगा कि आप डेटा भी है, आप डेटा कहीं से ले भी रहे हैं, तो उसको कम से कम जाकर देखिए, उसको वेरीफाई करिए, उसको समझने की कोशिश कीजिए. आप गरीबी को खाली गरीबी के डेटा से नहीं समझ सकते. If you want to understand poverty, if you want to understand how poverty can be removed in this country, if you want that, yes, women should have an equal status, or the Dalits should, their position should improve, then simply data and simply using data for research, you cannot. You cannot understand the real situation. आपको उन लोगों में जाना पड़ेगा, उसको समझना पड़ेगा, तब वो डेटा काम का, नहीं तो डेटा डेटा ही रहेगा. दिस इज समथिंग मेनी टाइम्स हम लोग मिस कर जाते हैं. डेटा ले लेते हैं, इधर उधर का कलेक्टेड डेटा है, लेकिन हम लोग खुद जाकर नहीं देखते हैं कि ये कितना कितना सत्य है, कितना नहीं है, इस तरह की बातें. विकास जी, काफी है? काफी है. We can now open it for the house for 15 minutes.
Yes sir, party question sir. Yes.
हाँ ना, क्योंकि
Okay. Thank you so much sir for your valuable lecture. So now I would like to invite to the all participants, if you have any doubts and queries, so you can ask directly to Professor Rajendra sir. Any participant.
या कोई अपनी बात रखना चाहे, वो भी हो सकता है प्रश्न की जगह.
किसी का कोई प्रश्न है? किसी का कोई
कोई अपनी टिप्पणी करना चाहता हो?
हाँ यस सर.
हाँ.
नमस्ते सर.
नमस्ते.
सर, मेरे को ना एक सबसे बड़ा डाउट रहता है कि कब कौन सा टूल और टेक्निक यूज होगा. जैसे प्राइमरी डाटा कलेक्ट कर रहे हैं ऑन द बेसिस ऑफ कोटा सैम्पलिंग एंड कन्वीनियंस सैम्पलिंग, और कस्टमर सेटिस्फेक्शन और सर्विस क्वालिटी से रिलेटेड अगर हमारा क्वेश्चन आया है सर, तब कौन से टूल टेक्निक्स लगेंगे? सबसे बड़ा डाउट रहता है सर मेरे को हमेशा.
मैं अमिता जी इसके बारे में नहीं बता सकता. हाँ, मैं नहीं बता पाऊंगा, क्योंकि मेरा इस तरह का काम नहीं है. इस तरह का मैं ज्यादा थ्योरी और ये इस तरह का कि ये आपको स्टैटिस्टिक्स वाला इकोनॉमिक, आजकल तो टूल्स बाजार में इतने हैं कि आपको बहुत ज्यादा सोचना ही नहीं है. मतलब आपको डेटा फीड करने के बाद यू कैन लाइक गेट हेल्प फ्रॉम एनीवेयर. आई एम सॉरी, मैं इसमें ना इतना मेरा बिल्कुल भी ज्ञान नहीं है इस बारे में.
जी सर, कोई नहीं. और सबसे बड़ा प्रॉब्लम सर मेरे को वही रहता है.
नहीं, मैं नहीं मदद कर पाऊंगा आपकी इस मामले में.
जी सर. सेशन होंगे उसमें हमने क्वांटिटेटिव मेथड का एक रखा है सेशन, तो उसमें हम करते हैं उसमें, है ना? जी
विकास सर. जी
हाँ. नेक्स्ट क्वेश्चन इंदु वाला.
जी सर, धन्यवाद सर.
जी इंदु वाला. जी ओके. और किसी
what are the primary sources from where we get the data?
देखो, there are number of primary sources. number of primary sources in the sense today you have the census, you have the gadget, you have other reports, you have other many a times, you have autobiographies, these are considered to be primary source, and it depends on what kind of research you are doing. ये बात ये कि it all depends on your topic. For instance, if I'm doing research on Rajasthan history, or let's say feudalism in Rajasthan, then I need to consult Colonel Todd's, annals and antiquities of Rajputana, or let's say if I'm doing a research on, let's say, Rohtak district, then I need to, as a primary source, it could be the Rohtak district gazetteer, from the British Times, or maybe some other books and resources. Those could be your, primary sources.
So
It
there
just
is
depends.
any, sir, in primary source there is internal validity also. When we
No,
सर जब हम लोग ये करते हैं ना प्राइमरी सोर्स से डाटा कलेक्ट, तो एक एक्सटर्नल और इंटरनल वैलिडिटी होती है, तो क्या सर इसमें ये होगी?
नहीं, आपका बहुत सारे सोर्सेज हैं जिसमें वैलिडिटी का कोई नहीं है, आपका वैलिडिटी नहीं है, आपका वो सोर्स को वैसे, जैसे आपका राजस्थान के ऊपर कर्नल टोड की किताब एनाल्स एंड एंटिक्विटीज ऑफ राजपूताना, अब आप उसको कहाँ से वैलिडेट करेंगे? या तो उसको दूसरे सोर्स से करेंगे, दूसरे प्राइमरी सोर्स से करेंगे, आपको और कोई दूसरा सोर्स यूज करना पड़ेगा, प्राइमरी सोर्स करना पड़ेगा, अदरवाइज यू वुड यूज दैट एज अ प्राइमरी सोर्स, एज अ कोट फ्रॉम दैट कि यस दैट वाज देयर,
थैंक यू
भाई
सर।
आपका भाई वैलिडिटी एक दूसरे सोर्स से वैलिडिटी हो सकती है, और तो कैसे हो सकती है? For any primary data or primary sources, for instance, let's say during colonial times हैं, तो आपको colonial times के रिकॉर्ड से ही अलग अलग तरह के आप रिकॉर्ड्स करोगे, एक ही वैलिडिटी हो सकता है, दूसरे से हो जाए, हो सकता है ना भी हो, नॉट नेसेसरी।
यस सर, थैंक यू।
हाँ, और किसी पार्टिसिपेंट्स का कोई क्वेश्चन? अंकिता चंद्रा, आपने हैंड रेज किया है। एनीवे, किसी भी पार्टिसिपेंट्स का
हाँ
क्वेश्चन?
सर,
जी 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 जी,
गुड आफ्टरनून सर।
नमस्ते
सर मेरा एक क्वेश्चन है, एक्चुअली जैसे मैंने क्वेश्चन आयर प्रिपेयर किया था म्यूचुअल फंड पे, तो मुझे जो एकेडमिक के लोग हैं उन्होंने बोला कि आपका क्वेश्चन आयर जो बहुत सिंपल लैंग्वेज में है, या आप सिंपल भाषा जो सब कहते हैं, तो उनका कहना था कि आप इसको थोड़ा और मतलब हार्ड करिए, तो क्या वो करना सही होगा?
नहीं, ये निर्भर करता है कि आप वो क्वेश्चनर किसको दे रहे हैं, कौन आदमी है।
तो क्या क्वेश्चन आयर तो सर जनरल पीपल के लिए था, सैलरीड पर्सन के लिए था।
नहीं, जनरल सैलरीड पीपल के लिए है, और क्वेश्चनर का कोई हार्ड और उसका सॉफ्ट का नहीं है। पहली बात ये कि जो आप पूछना चाहते हैं वो अगले आदमी के समझ में आ रही है कि नहीं है। आप इसमें मत पढ़िए कि क्वेश्चनर आप मुश्किल बनाएंगे तो आपको ज्यादा डेटा आएगा। बात यह कि आपको जो सूचनाएं चाहिए, आप उसके बारे में आप में साफ कोई होनी चाहिए। यू मस्ट बी क्लियर अबाउट द इंफॉर्मेशन दैट यू नीड, बिकॉज क्वेश्चनर्स आर बेसिकली we use them for getting certain information. So if that information is there, then you need not worry whether it is a difficult one. As far as language is concerned, you don't have to be bothered about that, because you should be clear, look, this is the information I need, and this questionnaire fulfills that requirement. That's fine.
Okay sir, thank you.
This is what I feel.
Okay sir, thank you sir.
Okay.
और किसी पार्टिसिपेंट्स का कोई क्वेश्चन है? किसी भी पार्टिसिपेंट्स का? कोई पूछना चाहता है? अदरवाइज हम सेशन को यहीं पर फिर एंड कर रहे हैं।
सर अभी लिंक नहीं आया हम लोगों का कोई।
हाँ, वो प्रोवाइड कर देंगे हम लोग, है ना अभी। सो ओके, थैंक यू सो मच सर।
थैंक यू विकास जी, थैंक यू।
जिस उम्मीद के साथ सर हमने आपका पहला सेशन रखा, वो सभी पार्टिसिपेंट्स ने सभी ने बहुत ही सर एंजॉय किया इस सेशन को।
नहीं, चलो इसकी रिकॉर्डिंग करेंगे क्या आप? विकास जी, इसकी रिकॉर्डिंग होगी क्या?
हाँ,
मुझे भेजना आपने ना।
मैं भेजूंगा सर।
चलिए ठीक है। मैं भी थोड़ा आजकल हमारे यहाँ एडमिशन में बिजी हूँ कि कुछ रिसर्च स्कॉलर्स की में वृद्धि हो विश्वविद्यालय। विश्वविद्यालय में उनकी संख्या में वृद्धि हो, उसमें लगा हुआ हूँ।
हाँ सर, आप इतना बिजी रहते हुए, व्यस्त रहते हुए सर हमारे निवेदन को स्वीकार
नहीं
किए, बड़ी बात है। मैं सर समझ सकता हूँ आपका सर, बहुत
नहीं
ही
नहीं, ऐसा कुछ नहीं है, बिजी कुछ नहीं रहते हैं, लेकिन हाँ किसी किसी दिन ये विश्वविद्यालय के कुछ काम करने पड़ते हैं थोड़े से।
जी जी सर, जी
चलिए फिर
सर,
मिलेंगे, है ना?
जी सर, प्रणाम सर,
ओके,
प्रणाम
थैंक यू
प्रणाम
थैंक यू थैंक
प्रणाम।
थैंक यू थैंक यू थैंक यू थैंक यू।